So I sit down and we're doing a round of straddles. On my straddle, I pick up a premium. Folds to the small blind who makes it 35. We'll call. Flop is King 10-8 rainbow. Smashed it. He decides to check, and we'll check back. Turn is a 7. He checks again, and I've always been a procrastinator, so I'll check it one more time. River's a queen. We have 5 high. And he's checking a third time. We bet pot. 75. Look, I have 5 high in a dream. Please don't call. Please don't call. He calls with ace 6 offsuit? Huh? I barely have time to get the camera out for the next hand. It folds to the small blind, who limps. We ISO Jack 10 suited in the big blind to 30, and he check raises to 105. We're gonna call. This hand's too beautiful to fold. Heads up to a flop. 10, 9, 5. It's so beautiful. 75? He decides on a bet of 75, and we quickly call. Turn is another 10. He goes into a super long tank here, which I've sped up for you guys. Finally, he bets nearly pot.
He was actually saying.
I don't like raising as much here. Let's just call.
Under his breath, into a mic, and I was like,
Heading to the river, which is a king of diamonds. Not my favorite card in the deck. Again, he tanks for a while, thinking what to do. I have about $800 behind. Nearly a pot-sized bet. Of course, we're calling anything he bets. He bets 600 and we pretty quickly call.
Amazing board.
And he was indeed bluffing with ace 6 of hearts. And I'm beginning to think that people are coming after me.
This guy, 3 barrels bluff.
In this next hand, I pick up ace 9 of hearts in the cutoff and open to 20. Big blind defends and we're headed to a flop. Queen 9 3 two-tone. He checks and I could see a check or a small bet here, but I decided to put in a small bet of 15. He quickly calls. Going to a turn, which is the 10 of clubs. He checks again, and I don't see much merit to betting here. So we check back. Going to a river of a offsuit 3. He checks again, and we check back. I think value betting here is a little bit thin, but we think we're going to win most of the time. Unfortunately, he has the old 10-8 offsuit. In this hand, Steven opens in the low jack, and we 3-bet in the high jack to 55. Small blind cold calls, and we go 3 ways to a flop. Ace 8 7 two-tone. It's a beautiful thing. Checks to me, and I decide on a third pot bet here. And the small blind pretty quickly decides to call. Steven folds, and we're heads up to a turn, which is the 7 of spades. He checks again, and now we need to size up. We want to get in stacks by the river, and we also want to get value for our hand. I bet 250, nearly a pot-sized bet here. And he thinks about it for some time. What does he have? He'll let it go. He shows a jack on the way out, so maybe pocket jacks?
What was it? Deuce.
This next hand is one I'm still dreaming about. The guy who Hero called me earlier opens under the gun too, and we're out for revenge in the hijack with queen ten of diamonds. We call. Heads up to a flop, which is jack 9 8 rainbow. And he checks to us. Me not blocking, he continues. Me really big bet. Me playing very sticky opponent. Me really big bet.
No? Yeah.
Okay, you get it. We bet 40. Then the waitress wakes me from my daydream to take my food order.
I'll take the miso card and a spicy tuna roll. Miso card and a spicy tuna roll.
And then come back to a very welcome sight. He's raising to 90. Ooh. Lovely. Now, I don't mind clicking it here or just calling in position. Really can't go wrong either way. But this time I do decide on a call.
What? Oh, I'm sorry about that.
Which is the 4 of diamonds. It just keeps getting better. He thinks about it and continues for about 110. Actually, exactly 110. Now I think it's time to raise. We want to get stacks in by the river, and we want to free roll him if he has the same hand. Okay, this is a small pot, but I threw it in for good measure. We open 8-7 of diamonds under the gun, and Steven calls in the big blind. Flop is queen 9-7 rainbow, and he checks. We'll check it back. Turn is a 9. Not the best card. He checks one more time, and we could bet for value and protection, but it's just not a good card for us. 3 is a very good card for us. And when he checks the third time, we definitely have the nuts here. We need to go for some value. And I decide on a pot-sized bet. He's going to need to call a lot of ace-highs. He gives it a good think, mulls it over a little bit, and unfortunately lets it go. Last over to the night here, and I pick up queen 10 suited on the button. Steven opens to 20 in the cutoff, and we'll just call, going heads up to a flop.
The two of you are head up.
9-6-3 rainbow. Smashed it. He decides on a 1/3 pot size bet, and I decide to treat myself to a little float here. Hey, I've got 3 to a straight flush. Turn is a 10. Okay. Things are looking up. Feeling better about my life choices. He gives it a really good think and decides on a big bet here. $60 into 75. And I'm beginning to think I just floated myself into a brick wall. Of course we're not folding, but I'm starting to feel a little woozy. River is an offsuit 4, and I'm just praying for a check. Why am I in this position right now? Why? Probably gonna have to shrug, call it off, and lose. You did it to yourself, Marley. You did it to yourself. Please check.
Johnny O, find 10 for Johnny O.
He does check, and we decided to check it back. I think betting is pretty marginal.
I see.
We show down and win versus the give up of King Jack off. A nice way to end the session and lock up a win.